Ready to unlock your abundant life? We're going to dive deep into Jerry and Esther Hicks's Money and the Law of Attraction
Oh, I love this book.
to see how, this universal law can really supercharge your finances and your well-being.
Absolutely. It's so fascinating how Hicks takes this concept, right? This idea that's been around for centuries, this attracts
Right.
and breaks it down in a way that's so practical and accessible.
Yeah, let's unpack that whole like attracts like thing.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to say you get what you think about, but what's the actual mechanism behind it?
Okay, so think of it this way, everything in the universe, right? Including our thoughts and feelings, it's all energy, vibrating at a certain frequency.
Okay.
And the law of attraction is simply stating that similar vibrations are drawn to each other.
So if we're constantly thinking about the bills that we can't pay or, we're short on rent,
Right.
we're actually attracting more financial struggle.
Precisely. We're putting out a frequency of lack, and the universe says, okay, here's some more lack. You got it.
It's like we're ordering it off a menu we didn't even realize we were looking at.
Exactly. But here's the empowering part.
Okay.
We can consciously choose to shift that frequency. We don't have to stay stuck in that.
And that reminds me of, Jerry Hicks's own aha moment
Yes.
with the law of attraction. It's not like he was, meditating on a mountaintop and suddenly, had this lightning bolt. It was very much rooted in that relatable feeling of being stuck.
Right. He was at a point where he was like, there's got to be something more,
Totally. Like, this can't be it.
And that's where he stumbled upon this concept.
Right.
That our thoughts are essentially like a blueprint.
Yes.
And we have the power to redraw that blueprint.
We have the pen.
Yeah.
We are the architects of our own lives.
So it's not about, denying that negative situations exist.
Exactly.
Or pretending that everything's always rosy.
It's not about toxic positivity.
It's about acknowledging where we are, but understanding that we have the power to choose our focus.
So do we dwell on what's missing, or do we shift our energy toward what we want to create? It's like choosing which radio station to listen to. We can stay tuned to the channel of worry and scarcity, or we can switch over to, the abundance and joy frequency.
Exactly. And that's where the pivoting process comes in, which Hicks talks about in the book. It's about becoming aware of those negative thought patterns.
Becoming aware, okay.
And consciously choosing to pivot towards a more positive and abundant mindset.
So how do we actually do that? How do we make that shift from scarcity to abundance, especially when it comes to something as tangible as money? The book really dives deep into this idea that simply wanting more money, it's not enough.
Right. It's not enough to just want it, right?
It's like wishing on a star.
Yeah.
You need to send out the right signal for the universe to, catch it.
Absolutely. Hicks calls that common pitfall, right?
Right.
Getting caught in the vibration of scarcity. When we're so focused on what we don't have,
Right.
We're actually just reinforcing those feelings of lack.
It's like we're inadvertently telling the universe, keep sending me more of not having enough.
Exactly.
Right.
The book brilliantly points out that abundance cannot find you unless you offer a vibration of abundance. You have to shift that internal frequency.
Okay, so how do we tune into that abundant frequency?
Yeah.
Especially when the bills are piling up.
Right.
And that scarcity mindset feels like almost impossible to shake.
Hicks offers a really fascinating tool in the book.
Okay.
They call it vibrational spending.
Vibrational spending.
Yeah.
What is that?
So it's not about actually spending money,
Okay.
but rather shifting your energy around money.
Okay.
So imagine carrying around $100. You don't have to actually have it on you.
Right.
But throughout the day, you vividly picture all the wonderful things you could buy with it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right.
So instead of thinking, I can't afford that,
Yes.
you're training your mind to focus on the possibilities, on the joy of having those things.
Yes.
Even if it's just in your imagination for now.
Precisely. You're essentially rewiring your subconscious to associate money with pleasure, opportunity, abundance,
Interesting.
instead of stress and limitation.
That's such a cool and practical exercise.
Right.
And it makes me think about that story that Jerry tells in the book about the wealthy businessman.
Yes.
Who was struggling, all these problems that,
Right.
Most people wouldn't associate with having money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great reminder that money alone
Right.
doesn't equate to happiness or fulfillment. True abundance encompasses so much more than that. Relationships, health, purpose.
It's about aligning your inner world with the outer world that you want.
Yeah.
And speaking of alignment, the book goes beyond just finances, and it dives into this fascinating connection between our thoughts and our physical well-being. It's so interesting how money and the law of attraction talks about how like our bodies are so receptive to our thoughts.
Absolutely.
It's like our physical selves are like constantly eavesdropping on our inner conversations.
Yes. Hicks really emphasizes that our bodies, they often respond to our thoughts and emotions even faster than our external reality can change, you know.
Yeah.
It's like our well-being is a mirror reflecting back our deepest beliefs.
So if we're constantly like, stressing about work or finances,
Right.
our body's picking up on those vibes and reacting accordingly.
Exactly.
Even if we haven't like manifested those outer stressors yet.
Yeah, the book actually talks about how, those negative emotions, those limiting beliefs, they create resistance within us.
Okay.
And that resistance can show up as dis-ease or discomfort in the body.
Oh, that's interesting. It's like that saying, right? Like
Yeah.
worrying is like praying for what you don't want.
Yes.
And our bodies are like the first ones to receive those like prayers.
100%. But just like we can, shift our thoughts and feelings to attract financial abundance, we can also cultivate a mindset that promotes healing and well-being.
It reminds me of that story in the book about the man who healed himself from like a supposedly incurable disease.
Right.
Just by like immersing himself in laughter and joy.
Yeah.
It sounds almost too good to be true, but
It does. But,
they swear by it.
It's such a powerful testament to this idea that aligning with positivity can have such a profound impact on our physical state. Like when we focus on feeling good, we create this internal environment where healing can like flourish.
It's like we're finally giving our bodies the permission and the resources to tap into their innate healing capabilities.
Yes.
Which like were always there.
They were there all along,
Yeah.
just waiting for the right signal.
Waiting for the right invitation.
Exactly. And Hicks actually talks about this idea of telling a new and improved story about our bodies and our lives. It's about shifting from that problem-oriented perspective to a more solution-oriented one.
So instead of focusing on what's wrong, what we're afraid of.
Right. All the what ifs, right?
Yeah. We can consciously choose to focus on what's possible.
Yes. What do we want to create?
The positive outcomes that we're actually desiring.
Exactly. And when we embody that energy, right?
Yeah.
Of possibility, of joy, of abundance in our thoughts, our words, our actions, it paves the way for such remarkable transformations in every area of life, including our careers.
Oh, that's a great segue. Because the book doesn't just stop at like money and health.
Right.
It also dives into aligning with your dream career.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hicks really, really wants us to view our careers not just as a means to an end, right?
Right.
But as a vital part of creating that joyful and abundant life experience.
Yeah. It's about finding that sweet spot where work feels less like an obligation.
Yes.
And more like an expression of your passions.
Yeah.
And your purpose.
Precisely. And Jerry actually shares his own personal story in the book about defining his ideal career path, And he talks about how he desired, freedom, growth, and of course, joy in his work.
It's a great reminder that we all have the power to design a career that really aligns with our values and aspirations.
Yes.
Even if it looks different from like the traditional path.
Yeah. 100%. It all comes back to tuning into your own inner guiding system and prioritizing what truly, truly feels good.
Yeah.
And you know what? When your actions are aligned with your joy, the universe has a funny way of conspiring to support you in achieving those goals.
It's like that saying, right? Like, do what you love.
Yes.
And you'll never work a day in your life. Although,
But maybe a more accurate version is do what you love.
And the universe will become your co-creator.
I love that. It speaks to the incredible power we have when we align our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions with what lights us up, what brings us joy.
So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into money and the law of attraction, here's a final thought to ponder.
I love it.
If our lives are a reflection of our dominant thoughts, what story are we currently telling ourselves?
Ooh, that's such a powerful question. It invites us to become conscious creators of our reality.
Right.
Just by paying attention to the narratives that are playing out in our minds.
And maybe just maybe, this deep dive has sparked some inspiration to write a new and improved story
Yes.
for ourselves, one that's brimming with abundance and joy and endless possibilities. Thanks for joining us.